So today we are going to talk about one more technique which we have for. We have discussed two techniques as of now. One is the TF-IDF thing, and the second is bag of words, right? So we got an idea how it actually works. Today we are going to discuss about one more interesting concept which is actually derived from artificial intelligence, and this is like the most powerful concept related to natural language processing. People are using it a lot. So this technique is known as word to vec. The main benefit which we are getting from this particular concept is it's helping me to get the semantic meaning of the words. That means, for example, let's say I'm saying uh, delicious or tasty, right? It's one and the same thing. The meaning is same. So it will understand that also. This word to vec technique. That is what the whole idea is all about. So we'll try to understand this. I'll give you the brief idea. It's a very big technology, basically. It's very big technique which they have come up with. We are not going much into detail, but at least we'll give you the intuition about it, how it happens. So normally what happens is that suppose there is a word. The main idea is that I will convert this word into a vector. Just a single word. Just a single word will get converted into a vector, right? So basically I am converting this to a vector. Of d dimension, where typically this d dimension is can be 50, 100, 200 or 300 or any numbers, right? So basically this single word, for example, let's say this word is delicious. I am creating a vector which is denoting this word, and this length of this dimension is 300 dimension. 300 dimension vector. Right, so that is the whole idea. Now let's say I have three words. Let's try to understand how it will help. Right, we'll try to understand first, and then we'll go into detail. Let's say I have word 1, I have word 2, and I have word 3. I will apply word to vec on each of the words. Right, I will apply word to vec on this word, I will apply word to vec on this word, and I will apply word to vec on this word. I will get three vectors, v3, v2, and v1. But I'll get three words, three vectors, sorry. Vector can be of any dimension, 50, 100, 200, 300, whatever, right? Let's say I have some random values for this vector. I have some random values for this vector, and I have some random values for this vector, right? I'm getting like all will be of same dimension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm as of now taking 6 dimensions. And now once I'm converting this word to a vector, and if I try to find the distance, I'll try to find the distance between this word and this word. We know the distance formula, right? x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. That is what we will do here. And I see that these two words are exactly the same. 100, 101, 100, 101, 110. So this word is different. So obviously distance between this and this will be 0. distance between this and this will be not 0. So obviously these two words are same words, right? So that is basically the whole idea. Maybe this word can be tasty and this word can be delicious. So if I plot, let's say this in 2-dimensional space, this is my word 1, word 2, or vector 1, vector 2, and this is my vector 3. So here you can see there is no gap between vector 1 and vector 2, no distance. So both are same, or nearby distance, let's say. Then both are of same type. Right, so that is what the idea is. Now you must be thinking that what's happening at the back end, because I am just passing a word delicious and you are converting it to a vector. How this vector is getting created? That is one of the understanding which we should have. So we'll talk about that in some time. But this technology which they have come up with, this is again Google is using a lot as of now. So the main benefit of this particular technology is that this vector representation which we have is actually working well on various different scenarios, not only on the same type of words, but also on the words like, let's say, men and women, king and queen. So basically what it does is the distance between man and king is near, distance between woman and queen is near, and the distance between man and woman is equal to distance between king and queen. So basically men woman vector, or I can say men and woman combination, is parallel to my king and queen combination. Distance between men and king is less, and same way distance between woman and queen is less. So it is taking these type of words combinations also. It is understanding it that men and king are of same type. Obviously there will be some difference, that's why there is a gap, but both are male, right? Same way both are female here. Same way it works well for data something like, let's say, country and capital. Suppose India, then Delhi, same way other countries and their capitals. So you will see a vector which are parallel to each other, where these are my countries and these are my capitals. It works well in the tenses also. For example, the word is walked, and there is one more word called walking. The distance between these two will be near. Swim, swam, swimming, swam, right? These type of words also taken care. That is the main benefit which we are getting from this particular concept. Now, the main benefit which we are getting is that this W2VEC concept, I'll write it as W2V, it understands these relationships automatically from the raw text. Automatically from the raw text. So basically there was a paper published by one of the engineers in Google in year 2013, and at that point in time this technology was getting famous, and Google is now using it heavily. Now obviously to train this Word2Vec, I require huge amount of data. So what Google doing is Google is sharing Google News data in the algorithm. They are like huge amount of data set already coming from Google News. So these data is what they are using for training this Word2Vec. right? So it requires a large amount of text corpus, and that is what you are getting from Google News. So it takes all the words and convert into vectors. Now, before I go ahead and talk about more in detail, few more things I want to talk about. Before I go and actually talk about the detailed algorithm, there are two techniques which people are using for making things faster. One is known as average word to vec, and second is known as TF-IDF, weighted word to vec. These are the two techniques which people are using a lot. Let's try to understand this. Suppose I have a sentence or I have a review, which is nothing but sequence of words. Right? I have a sentence basically. Now here we have to understand that how do we convert sentence to vector using word to vec? Because see, word to vec is nothing but I am converting a word to a vector. But here I have a sentence. That is nothing but set of words. For example, let's say I have a review one, which consists of word 1, word 2, word 1, word 3, word 4, word 5. These are the words I have in my sentence. So from R1, I have to generate one vector 1. Right? I will generate one vector 1 using word to vec, where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words are there with me. So first of all, I will convert this word to vector. I will convert this word to a vector. I will convert this word to a vector and so on. And then I will apply this technique, average word to vec. So basically, my vector 1 will be nothing but word to vec of vector 1 plus word to vec of vector word 2, sorry, plus word to vec of word 1 again, plus word to vec of word 3, plus word to vec of word 4, plus word to vec of word 5, and divided by number of words. I will get one vector 1. Right? This is, let's say, 3-dimension vector. This is 3-dimension vector. This 3-dimension vector. This 300 dimension, sorry, 300 dimension vector, and this 300 dimension vector. I'm summing up all the vectors and then divided by number of words. I'm getting the average word to vec. So when I have a sentence R1, I am getting the word to vec of all the words and taking the average. That is what one way is to convert a sentence to a word, or like convert a sentence to a vector. That is like one way for us. Second way is TF-IDF weighted word to vec. TF-IDF weighted word to. We discussed about TF-IDF in the last sessions. So I have my review one, which consists of word 1, word 2, word 1, word 3, word 4, and word 5. I will create a vector for review 1, which consists of TF-IDF. Let's say I have word 1, word 2, word 3, word 4, word 5, word 6, word 7. Okay, let's say I have 7 words. Out of that 7 words, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words are there in my sentence. So I will calculate my TF-IDF value for all these words. Right? Let's say my TF-IDF value is maybe T1, T2, something like that. So T1, T2, T3, T4, T5. These will be 0 because the word is not there. So my TF-IDF word to vec of review 1 will be nothing but T1 multiplied by word to vec of W1 plus T2 multiplied by word to vec of W2 and so on up till W5 upon sum of T1 plus T2 plus T3 plus up till T5. And this is nothing but my weighted average. So TF-IDF weighted word to vec. If I generalize this formula, my formula will look like TF-IDF word to vec of R1 is equal to, or I will generalize, let's say Ri, summation of I, which are my words, Ti multiply by word to vec of Wi upon sum of Ti, where I is equal to words. This is the formula. Now, if you think that if all my TIs are 1, if all my TIs are 1, then can I say it is actually the average? Right? If all my TIs are 1, that is actually nothing but my average word to vec. Because see, here all the TIs are 1. That means how many words are there? That is nothing but number of words. These TIs are 1. So what you are doing is word to vec upon number of words. And that is nothing but word to vec upon number of words. So when my TF-IDF TI values are 1, in that case, it is actually considered as average word to vec, which is obviously not possible in real time. But if that happens, now let's try to understand this entire concept of word to vec, right? Let's take one example before I proceed to talk about the two algorithms. Let's say I have a set of words in my entire corpus, right? Let's say I have a word like chair, I have a word like table, I have a word like boy, I have a word like girl, I have a word like apple and orange. Let's say these are my words in my entire reviews, total reviews, right? Let's assume that I'm taking just a small data set. Now what I will do is basically what the very first thing will be, I will convert this to one hot encoding, right? For example, let's say I have in a sentence chair is there, so it will become 1, table is not there, so 0, boy is there, so 1, like that, right? I'll do the one hot encoding. Or I can say, let's say I have a chair, right? So let's say make chair as 1, rest all 0. Let's say table, so 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. Then 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0. And 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. This is my vector. Now from here I am understanding that when I have in a vector value is 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, that means it is a chair. When the value is 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, it's a table. When the value is 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, then it is a boy, and so on. Right? So this is my one hot encoding, which is gonna be the input. Right? We'll talk about that. But this is how, first of all, I'll convert the data. Because now see, in my review, let's say we have n words, or let's say we have v words. Let's say we have v words, right? So I will generate a vector which will have this as my v dimension, right? 1 0 0 0, because if you see in this example, I have how many words? 1 2 3 4 5 6. So 1 2 3 4 5 6, 6 dimensions I have, right, for every word. So if I have v words, I have, this will be v dimension. Okay, that is, first of all, that is what I will do. Now what benefit I will get at the end? What I want to generate at the end, I will generate a diamond. I'll generate one matrix which will be, let's say, n cross v matrix. Word to vector, what it does, it generates n cross v matrix. And this n cross v matrix is something like the details about. See, I told you at the very start that my word to vec generates a dimension, n dimension, where n can be 50, n can be 100, n can be 200, n can be 300, or so on, right? So let's try to understand what happens. I have chair, right? So I have chair, I have table, I have a boy, I have a girl, I have apple, and I have orange. Okay. I will apply an algorithm. As of now, I'm showing you that what will be the output basically. So I'll apply an algorithm which will generate n cross d dimension, where this is n cross v dimension, where v is nothing but my number of words in my corpus, right? I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 words, so v is nothing but 6, and I will have n dimension which I will decide in the algorithm, and this n dimension is nothing but the features of that word. This algorithm is very smart. It breaks down into various features. For example, gender, age, food. It can be any. I'm just mocking up the example. Cost, made of wood, consumable, grow on trees, used to sit, right? This is my n dimensions. More number of dimensions you will choose in the algorithm, better your predictions will be, right? So I have this n dimension. This is my n dimensions, and this is my v words. Is chair having gender? No. Is table having gender? No. Is boy having gender? Yes. So I'll make it as, let's say, -1. Girl is also having gender, so make it as +1. Because gender is like extreme, right? Boy is one end and girl is one end. So extreme values I am giving. Apple has gender? No. Orange? No. Okay, cool. Age. Chair, normally let's assume that chair does not have any age, right? Normally we say this chair is 4-year-old, but that is just for a sake, right? So let's assume that there is no age of table and chair. Yes, these guys will have age, so 1 1. So this 1 1 is now having similarity. Yes, that these two are actually of same type. They are of same type. They have age, right? Let's try to understand again. Apple and orange has no age. Food. Is chair a food? No. Is table a food? No. Boy? No. Girl? No. Apple? Yes. Orange? Yes. Now you can understand, right? Now, yes, there is similarity between the words, because apple and orange both are food. Cost. Table has a cost, yes. Chair, yes. Boy, girl, no. Apple, orange, yes. Made of wood, yes. Table, yes. Boy, no, 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 no. Consumable, no, 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 no. Yes, yes. Grow on trees, no, 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 no. Yes, yes. Used to sit, yes. Table may not be right, so let's make it 0, no. 0, 0, 0, 0. Now, don't you think that these two vectors are very similar apart from just the gender thing? Rest all things are same, right? Same way these two vectors are very similar, and these two vectors are also almost very much similar, right? So with just few records and few dimensions, I am able to segregate that, okay, these two are of same types. Not exactly, but yes, features are matching. These two are of same types. You can see everything is same, right? I will obviously segregate it because apple orange is not exactly the same. I can say, let's say color. Apple is of red color, orange is of not red color, something like that. More feature will be added because see, my n is 300 dimensions. If I'm going with 300 dimensions, right here, I'm just taking 6, 7 dimensions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 dimensions. But still, I'm able to segregate that these are consumable, these are food, these are like looks like a human being, these are like non-living things, right? So we are able to understand that. And this is what happens at the back end in the Word2Vec. That is the whole idea. And that is why it is very, very powerful algorithm, which is giving me the semantic meaning of the words as well. Right? Whether delicious and tasty are same, yes. If you try to create the same vector for delicious and tasty with some more dimensions, you will have the same features, right? If both the vectors are of same features, that means that yes, those words are same. And this is like a very powerful technology. Like this is like amazing, right? It's like mind blowing. So this is what happening at the back end. But now question arises, how all these things are happening. So there are two techniques which happens at the back end. The first technique is known as CBO, which is known as continuous bag of words. That is the first technique which happens. And the second technique which happens is skipgram. Skipgram. So here we'll try to understand what's actually the idea behind this entire concept. So let's take the CBO first of all. Let's try to understand CBO first of all. Continuous bag of words. Let's say I'll have some sentence. Let's say I have one sentence. Let's say I have a sentence, maybe the guy is drinking water from the bottle. Right? Simple sentence. Now in CBO, there's a concept of focus words and there's a concept of context words. Right? Let's say this is my focus word. This is my focus word. And these are my context word. The context word we can restrict that I want to see only last three and first three words, like last three and next three words. That we can restrict. Let's say as of now, I'm not restricting anything. I'm saying that okay, this is my context word number one. This is my context word number two. This is my context word number three. This is my context word number four. This is my context word number 5, 6, and 7. These are my context words. Okay. Now here the core idea is that basically the algorithm which runs the SIBO, what it does is, the core idea is that using the context words, I want to predict the focus word. It's like a fill in the blanks, which is happening. The guy is fill in the blanks, water from the bottle, right? That is the algorithm which SIBO does. That is the idea which SIBO has. Using the context words, I want to predict the focus words. That is the core idea. The core idea is context words So basically what happens is that the core idea is that context words are very useful in understanding of focus words, right? That is the core idea, and we have two algorithms. One is SIBO, second is SkipGram. Now what happens in SIBO? Let's try to understand that. How it works basically. Suppose we have a dictionary of words, or the set of words. Basically, dictionary is nothing but I have a review, right? I have a review coming from Amazon, let's say. So I'm collecting all the words and I'm generating a dictionary, the set of all the words basically. That is my dictionary. So I can say dictionary or vocab of my words. Vocab of words. Let's denote this entire dictionary as V. This is my dictionary, right? Capital V. And let's say my total number of words in this dictionary are small v. Total number of words, or the size of my this thing, what do you say, a vector, number of words, right? Number of words, small v. Now this is my, like, basically this is what my first step is. I am collecting all my words. Now after that I will do one-hot encoding of each word, which we saw, right, previously somewhere. This one, we are doing one-hot encoding here. Okay, so I have a word wi which belongs to the real valued v dimension, which is nothing but a binary vector of v dimension, because I have v number of words are there. So that is my second step which I have to perform. Now once this is done, my task is that using the context words, let's say I have context word number 1, I have my context word number 2, I have my context word number 3, and so on. Okay, using my context word, which are nothing but v dimension. These are my v dimension word vectors, right? These are my v dimension vectors. For example, water, right? If I go to this sentence, water from the, water from the, like that. These are my words. I will have one hidden layer. This is again coming from the AI world. It's basically AI technology which we are applying at the back end. And this hidden layer has n number of neurons, right? N dimension. I have basically n neurons. I am passing these words, and this is like fully connected network, which means that C1 is connected to this neuron, C1 is connected to this neuron, C1 is connected to this neuron, C1 is connected to this neuron. Same way C2 is connected to this neuron, C2 is connected to this neuron, C2 is connected to this neuron, and so on. Same way C3 is connected to all the neurons. So it's something like this. These are my C1, C2, C3. These are my neurons, and then I'm connecting like this. Right? It's a fully, this is known as fully connected network. Right? Fully connected network. Right? Full connection. So I will have my full connection network here. So let's redraw it. I have my context word C1, which is my V dimension. I have my context word C2. I have my context word C3. I have my context word C4. I have my context word C5, and so on. I have a hidden layer which consists of n dimension neurons, and I'll connect my network. It's a fully connected network. And so on. Okay. So basically here we are passing this V dimension multiplying with n dimension. So basically I will have how many weights I will have? Weight 1, weight 2. Every connection will have some weight, right? The weightage. This is nothing but V cross n weights. We will have total V cross n weights. And when I am passing from here, I will generate a word with n cross V vectors. Like basically I will have a word which will show me n cross V. I'll have an output which is nothing but my focus word. Right? So this is like a multi-class classification. This is like a multi-class classification. Basically, I am giving the probability that okay, if these are the words, then what will be the focus word? I'll have multiple words, right? So I'll predict okay, this is the best word look like. The probability of this word is very high. So it's a multi-class classification. So while we are training this data, right? How the training will happen? Because see, again, I need a lot of data for training also, right? I have a set of words. For example, this is my sentence. This is my sentence. So what I will do, I'll generate a corpus here. How the corpus will look like? Let's try to understand that. Let's say the sentence is, the boy is drinking water from the bottle. Right? So now my focus word will be the, and my context word will be boy is drinking water from the bottle. Or this the will not be there. Same way, my second focus word will be boy. Now the context word will be the is drinking water from bottle. Same way, my next focus word is, let's say, drinking. So the words are the boy is water from bottle. So basically this is my input and this is my, it's now a classification, right? These are my X and this is my Y. Right? So this is how we generate the training data, where these are my X's and based on this X's, I am predicting the Y. Simple. So it's a multi-class classification, and in neural network form, we actually say it as softmax. Softmax is actually nothing but multi-class classification of logistic regression. So once the training is done, what happens is that I will get one matrix of n features and V dimensions, which we got here, right? If you remember this one, n cross V, right? N features and V dimensions. That is what he will generate at the end. That is what he will generate at the end after the training, where you will have this as V dimension. And this n can very well be changed. More the n is, more robust your model is, more accuracy you will get from the model, because you are generating more dimension. Right? And obviously, when you want to generate more dimension, you should have more number of data points also. That means more number of texts you want. Then only you will have more number of dimensions. Okay, so that is the idea of CBO, continuous bag of words. The second concept is known as skipgram. Now, skipgram is altogether a different way of uh, training the model. Now, here what happens is that in CBO, what we did was, in CBO, we use the context word to predict the focus word. However, in skipgram, we use the focus word to predict the context words. Opposite. I have only one focus word and I want to predict context words, which is obviously tough. That's why we don't use much. Because earlier it was easy, right? I just have to fill in the blank. Suppose drinking is not there, I just have to fill the blank. But now in skipgram, I only have drinking. I have to find all these values, right? So it's obviously a tough thing. It's obviously a tough thing, right? So that is what the skipgram is all about. So in this technique, we will use the focus word and predict the context words, right? So let's try to create the architecture. So I'll have a focus word, which is my V dimension, right? This is my focus word. Again, this is fully connected network, which is like, again, V dimension. So V, the word is coming in, V cross N, where I have my hidden layer, consists of N neurons, right? This is my N neurons, N dimension. And then it will generate multiple outputs. This is nothing but N cross V, N cross V, N cross V. N is basically nothing but my features, and V is nothing but my vector, word vector. I have my softmax. Softmax, as I mentioned, it's nothing but, in simple terms, logistic regression in the AI world with multi-class classification. Softmax, softmax. And I'll have my context for C1, C2, C3, and C4. Okay, this is my hidden layer, basically. Now, how many weights I will have total here? Total weights will be how many softmax? Let's say I have K softmax are there, right? K context words are there. So total number of weights I have to train is K plus 1 multiplied by N into V. Right? These are my total number of weights which you have to, because N into V we have these, right? K times, and N into V here I also have. So K N into V plus N into V. Total we have K plus 1 N into V weights. And for CBO also, the number of weights will remain the same, because here also you will get the same, right? In CBO also, you have V into N weights plus 1 weight here. So total K plus 1 N into V weights are there. So number of weights which I have to train in softmax, sorry, in CBO and skipgram are same. The number of weights for CBO and skipgram, we have the same weights. But CBO is faster than skipgram. Skipgram is slower than CBO, which makes sense, because in CBO I just have to find one word. but here I have to find multiple words. Right? So SIBO works better when we have, basically I can say when we have more frequency of the words. When the frequency of the words are more, SIBO works better. Normally we use SIBO a lot in our day-to-day work. However, skipgram works fairly well if the total amount of data is small, right? Or if the word is less frequent, right? So if the word is less frequent, then skipgram is the good option. Or the data volume is less. However, SIBO is when the data volume is high or more frequent words. Then SIBO works well. Okay, so that is the whole idea how this actually works. Now, when my n increasing, that means my number of dimensions are increasing, right? I am making more features. So, few things which I want to highlight. One is both skipgram and SIBO. As my k increases, the softmax, right? As my k increases, more context and dimension representation of each point is better. If the k increasing, then the representation of the words are better. But the problem here is that in SIBO and skipgram both, my formula is k plus 1. Again, total number of weights which I have to train n into v. If let's say n is 200, let's say k is my surrounding words, 5 words I'm interested in, and my vector is let's say 10k words are there, right? So 200 features, 5 surrounding words, and 10k are my total number of words. These are my context words basically, which I can use in both, right? I have to use this context word in both SIBO and skipgram. SIBO, I am using this to predict my focus word. In skipgram, I am predicting these surrounding words, right? So when my k is increasing, then obviously I'll get a more understanding that these are my surrounding words, so this word can be the best word. Because see, more the set, if let's say if I'm giving one sentence, this is an amazing pizza. Suppose I am taking only 2 context word, an amazing, or let's say an pizza. I want to find this. It's difficult, right? Obviously this sentence is not making, but you understand, right? Basically when we have more surrounding words, to find this middle word is quite easy. That is what it is mentioning here. But at the same time, when we are increasing this and when we are increasing this dimension, this all if you multiply, because see at the end this is how these many weights you have to train. K plus 1 into n into v. N is 200, v is 10k, k plus 1 is 6 into this entire thing, approximately 12 million. I have to train 12 million weights, which is obviously a time consuming process. And again, we are just talking about 10k words. We can have huge amount of words. 10k is like nothing. So overall, things will get slow. So we have to optimize this. Right? We have to optimize this entire algorithm. That again, there are techniques. which we are not covering at this point, but that can help us to optimize this entire algorithm. Right, so these are the algorithms which we are using in Word2Vec.